Hi everyone, welcome to another video. We're outdoors today on a beautiful November 2nd. It's warm, it's 15 degrees, there's leaves, and our cat is out climbing trees. Beautiful day. So today we wanted to talk about an introduction to the planets, as I'll be also talking about the sun and the moon today. So before we get into talking about the planets in general and how they relate to our birth astrology charts, I wanted to say a few things. So in Vedic astrology, we deal with the 7 planets or celestial bodies and the two shadow planets where the sun and moon cross paths, so the north and south node of the moon. So that makes 9 planets. And then another important position or point in the sky is the ascendant. So that is sort of where the ascendant, so where the horizon line is pointing in the sky at the time of your birth. So that makes 10. Isn't that cool, V? Did you realize that? 10 really important points in the sky in a birth chart. Um, so what I wanted to say before we get into it is that the planets are the key to astrology. We'll be learning afterwards the signs and the houses, but the planets are the most important. They are the sort of celestial bodies that are moving around the sky and influencing a certain energy upon us. So before we even learn about the signs and houses, just knowing the planets in themselves can give us a really awesome foundation for life in general. And then the other important thing to think about is also how those planets express themselves. So the planets are sort of the characters, the ones that carry the energy. And then the sign is sort of the mask that that planet wears, or the filter that that planet comes through in your chart. And then the sphere or the house in the sky, the position in the sky, is the domain in life where that planet will have the most effect. But really, the key and the energy comes from the planets themselves. If we think about life, that the sun is sort of the one who provides energy for everything to grow, for our heat, for photosynthesis to happen. The sun provides all of that energy. So we can think of the other planets providing a certain energy towards our lives as well. Then the other thing is that the planets can express themselves in different ways, and that sort of comes along with our free will. So we can have a planet in its point of debilitation, or a planet in the planet that is falling. So, for example, Saturn falls in the sign of Capricorn. If you don't understand that, don't worry about it. We'll talk about it later. But basically, in sort of the traditional astrology, they can look at that as being a very bad position for Saturn. Saturn doesn't fall in Capricorn. I'm sorry. Jupiter falls in Capricorn. That's what I wanted to get to. Jupiter falls in a Saturn sign. Jupiter falls in Capricorn, and um, so traditionally someone would look at that and say, oh, that means that you're going to be very judgmental, you'll have no optimism in life, you will never be able to see the bright side of life, because Jupiter sort of represents that optimism, that lightheartedness, seeing things on a greater scale. And when Jupiter's in Capricorn, it can maybe become sort of stubborn with that Saturn energy and Capricorn energy, wanting to put things into place and put things into boxes and slow things down and come down to the harsh realities of life. So traditionally, that someone might look at that and say that's a very bad position for Jupiter. However, the key to learning about the planets is knowing their expression. So there's sort of a scale. We can think that um, the planet can either be in sort of a very negative, sort of self-destructive expression. It can be in a very egotistical expression, or it can be in sort of a more harmonizing and middle ground um, expression, which is sort of the key as to where the biggest potential lies for that planet. So in traditional Indian teachings and in Ayurveda, they call these different energies, different expressions of the planets, the gunas, which actually pervade through all of life in general. So these 3 sort of important energies. But I'll be doing another video about that a bit later. the most important is to know that wherever your planets are in the sky at the moment of your birth, you can always work to harmonize the different planets and to come to bring them in sort of the most sattvic or most balanced, most harmonized version or expression of that planet in your own life. And that'll look different for every person because every person will have the planets in different places in the sky. Um, so someone asked me once, well, if I'm harmonizing my sun, then where does it, in what sign does it go, or where does it move in my birth chart? It doesn't actually move. That's the beautiful thing, is that the chart stays the same, but with your own conscious decisions, with your own free will, you're choosing to have the best expression of that planetary position in your chart. So that's what we like to talk about, and that's what we'll get into. So stick with me. Let's go for it.